don't know what to do with my hands. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Safety Meeting Podcast. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert. Today's very special guest, me. This is episode 53. So if we were doing one a week, this would be the first episode of the second year of the show. We were doing a couple of weeks. We dropped more than one episode a week, so we beat a year by about 2 months. I think June 12th of 2019 was our first episode. I want to thank all the guests that have come on the show. It's been an amazing journey. We didn't add video till episode 36. So this is a whole new world for us. We're still getting our feet wet with the video stuff. And then, COVID came along. COVID came along, kind of changed the game up for us. We did 4 or 5 episodes here via FaceTime. Podcasting is on the Mayor of Los Angeles' list of essential businesses. So technically, we are allowed to have guests here in the studio. You might see other bigger podcasts kind of doing their thing and wondering, like, how are they allowed to congregate? It falls under the news and entertainment category on his list. Personally, I just didn't feel like it would be socially responsible for me to invite guests, even if they were willing to come. So I'm going to wait it out before we have face-to-face interviews again. But for now, I'm going to try some solo stuff. Maybe that'll work. And if it doesn't, we'll just keep doing stuff on FaceTime. I did a Zoom the other day. I did my first Zoom. It was awesome, especially for one-on-one stuff. It kind of gives you that, like when you record it, it gives you that left-right cut. Because if you've watched this show before, I kind of do a split-screen thing. Basically just because I'm lazy and I don't want to cut left, right every time someone talks on the show. And I really think it's important to see reactions. I want to see someone's face when I say something stupid. So I like seeing both sides. But what do you think? Leave us a note in the comments. Tell us if you like the left-right split or if you want to do shot for shot. I value your input. You guys are the ones watching the show. So I'm sitting here banging my head against the wall trying to figure out how to make it better for you. So let us know what you like and what you don't like. Go easy on me for the stuff you don't like. Because, it hurts my feelings sometimes. But the feedback that we have gotten so far has been a bit amazing. The support from you guys really fuels me up, keeps me going. And I really appreciate it. I wanted to touch on a couple of things here in the solo podcast. I don't know if I have enough time to fill an hour. I'm going to try. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the meaning of the name, the Safety Meeting Podcast. So we came up with 3 meanings. The original concept for the name that just kind of got spitballed was created by Kevin Murphy. He's on Instagram at Just Barrett, like bear, like a rare bear. Check him out. He's a producer and snowboarder, and his content's really fun, so check him out. And sometimes producer of the show when I need help. He's been a really valuable asset, so we really appreciate his help. But we were just kind of out hanging out one day, and he's like, hey, what about the safety meeting? And I was like, that is not bad. I'm stealing it, so I stole it. But I like to give him credit whenever I can. And then we developed some meanings behind it. So professionally, when I'm not in here making all this podcast money, I am on set as a director and a first assistant director for commercials, print shoots, and network promos, which are the little commercials that play on broadcast networks right before the show comes back on and right after the commercials. So it's a commercial for a show, basically, is what a promo is. And the first thing that you do as an assistant director in the morning is you get the whole crew together and you have a safety meeting. And you talk about some of the hazards on the work site and what to look out for if you're working with explosions or snakes. Look out for those snakes. You remind the crew to drink water if it's going to be hot. You introduce the set medic and the director and the producers. Make sure everybody kind of knows who everybody is. You just do the run of show of the day and let everybody know what we're going to be doing that day. It's kind of like doing 5 minutes of improv in front of 75 people who don't really care what you're talking about. And sorry, as I'm talking about Murph, he's chiming in on my text messages that go to my work computer here. So he must have known we were talking about him. Thanks, Murph. We may go and shoot socially distancing stuff later with his drone. And I'm going to cut that out. Cool. So the first meaning of the safety meeting is because I have the first meaning of the safety. So the first meaning of the safety meeting is because I have to have a safety meeting every morning when I go to work. The second meaning, it came from before I got in the film business. When when you have a job, at your job, when you want to sneak away with a buddy and either take a shot or smoke some weed at work, it's called a safety meeting. It's like, hey, bud, you want to go have a safety meeting? And usually it's code for going and smoking or going and having a shot. I didn't know about the shot thing until my buddy Dan Postian turned me on to that. I think he's episode 16. He's right in that range. Check him out. He's super funny. Also a North Carolina kid. You might see a theme here on the show. I'm from North Carolina. They stamped me on the way out. I like people from North Carolina. I like people here, but given the choice to have somebody from North Carolina on the show or not, I'm going to definitely go the North Carolina way. The third meeting of the safety meeting title comes from the new comedy world that I'm dipping my foot into. I'm, just starting to get out there on mic. I'm a new comic. So from the study of comedy that I have been reading on and researching on the internet, to get a involuntary laugh response from your audience, you need to create an environment of safety and then interrupt it with aggression, or vice versa, create an environment of aggression, interrupt it with safety. So those are the three meanings of the Safety Meeting Podcast. That's where we got our name from. Got a couple of questions here all typed out. And you know what? I haven't gotten a text message all day. And as soon as I start rolling, my phone's blowing up. So maybe I should just keep the cameras on all the time and I'll feel more popular. Second question. I have specific questions that I got from you guys on Instagram. I'm going to go over those in just a second. But I get this a lot. So I was going to address this here in the first solo podcast. Why did I start this podcast? I'm starting to work with people to help me market the show. And the number one question that I get is, what's your show about? What makes you special? I don't have an answer for that. I like talking to people. Originally, when we first started, it was walking people through their life story, how they moved to Hollywood, what got them in the film business or into comedy. Always in the back of my mind, I thought and knew that I was going to transition to only having comics on the show. But for me, I had to become a comic first. So I'm still in that transitionary phase of working my way towards becoming a comic. I was just in the process of getting up more right when COVID hit. So check in with your boy right after COVID and see if he's still doing it. That's stupid. Of course I'm still going to do it. I love it. The idea of being able to stand in front of people with a microphone and say words that make them laugh, I can't think of anything better to do with my time or my life. So I want to get good at that, and I want to get some reps in. So we need y'all to stay inside so we can get this over with. I'm not going to get into politics about who's going outside, what states are letting people out, why they shouldn't. But do your part, man. Stay home. I know I'm sitting in a studio here, and this isn't my house. If you can't tell that this is not where I live, but I'm here by myself. I leave the house with a mask on and gloves, and I get in my car, and I come straight here with a mask and gloves on, and I come to the studio, and I lock the door. So I'm as socially distant as you possibly can be. Why did I start the podcast? I love talking to people. I love the sound of my own voice, too. I just love to talk. It just makes more sense if there's somebody listening. So the whole thought of this solo podcast is a little strange to me. I'm sitting here talking to a camera. I know that when you're watching this, now we're engaged, right? I'm having a conversation with you, even though you're not here. But as I'm recording it right now, it feels weird. So I need to do this to the point where this doesn't feel weird. So help me out. Leave me a comment. Tell me how great I'm doing, because I feel awesome, but I also feel kind of weird. My love of talking to people and engaging and being able to put your phone down and sit across the table from somebody when there's not a worldwide pandemic, and looking them in the eye and hearing your voice through headphones and hearing their voice clearly through your headphones. It's just an amazing experience. So if you haven't tried it, I invite you to come on the show or start your own podcast. There's, plenty of room for everybody. And I don't know. I just love it. It's super awesome. And now I'm rambling. So my Second reason, this is actually the spawn of the whole deal for starting a podcast. All my favorite comedians have podcasts. So I thought to myself when I first pondered becoming a comedian, hey, what are all successful comedians doing? I wrote out a list, I reverse engineered it, and podcasting was on that list. And I figure instead of going out and trying to build a fan base and then starting a podcast, why not start the podcast first? Get your wheels under you, get good at it, start practicing, and then by the time you get any notoriety, your podcast will already have its wheels up and running. So you guys that are already watching are ahead of the game. You're like the early adopters. You're the OGs. You're the guys that are going to be there from the ground up. We're still working on a name for you guys. Like Chris D'Elia has his babies, and then my other show with Misty Roberts called Tales from C4A. She has her flight crew. I'm trying to think of another reference. You get it. People with podcasts call their listeners a group name. I'd love some suggestions. So what do you guys want to be called? And then when we figure that out, we can start making merch and selling you some shirts. Because I need that sweet, sweet shirt money. You know what I'm saying? But we're not selling you anything until we all go back to work. Don't worry about that. Another reason why I started a podcast is because I'm a public speaker by trade. I have to do it at work. And communicating with people, I think, is becoming a lost art. We text each other. We email a lot. I think just having a conversation with somebody keeps you mentally sharp. And I want to stay sharp. I forgot what I was going to say. Exactly. Staying sharp. So we talked about the meaning of the Safety Meeting podcast, where we got the name, and why I started the podcast. So hopefully we'll cut this out and put it as a separate clip. So when people are like, hey, what's this podcast all about? We can send them this little clip, and it will help us all describe to our friends and family why should they tune in, or at least where the origin came from, why they should tune in. Hopefully down the road, it's going to get funny. So with your segment suggestions and your participation, the show only works better as we work together. So the more involved that you guys are in the comment section and following along on Instagram and sending in segment ideas, the more fun. Let's use funner. Funner is a more fun word than more fun. The whole experience is for all of us. So one thing that I have to address right now is that our studio is particularly located in, I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's higher in elevation than other places, and it's valley facing. We'll put it that way. So today is, 88, 89, 90 degrees outside, and currently where my desk is in the studio is right under the AC vent, and that blows air right on the microphone. It sounds like this. So I turned the AC off to do this podcast, and I'm starting to sweat. So we're 13, almost 14 minutes in. Let's see what kind of puddle I'm sitting in if I make it all the way to an hour. But 14 minutes in, wow. Okay, that's cool. I only have to do this for 45 more minutes. Okay. My camera that I'm shooting this on, it's not a GoPro this time, which run infinitely until the card runs out. I'm shooting this on my DSLR. Those only run for 29 and a half minutes. So in 13 and a half minutes, I'm going to have to cut this and re-roll that camera, at which time I'll probably take a break. And then maybe I'll turn the AC on so you can hear what it sounds like and then turn it right back off. So earlier this week, when if you follow along on Instagram or Facebook, I threw it out there. What are some questions? I asked for some questions from you guys, and you guys came through, man. I got some good questions. I'm going to do my best to try and answer these just right off the top of my head. First one that came in, these aren't in the order that they came in. They're in the order that I read them off my phone a minute ago, and I typed them up. So Joy of Laura, which is Laura was on episode 28, 29. She's from Texas. She had that whole murder mystery thing going on. I hope to have her back for episode 2. But at Joy of Laura on Instagram says, what was your favorite show or movie that you rewatched and was shocked by a new insight? Man, that's a really good question. I very rarely rewatch anything. years have to go by. But some movies that I rewatched a lot, I probably burned the brakes off of the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, good cop versus high level robbery dude based in L.A. I rewatched that. I probably watched it 5 or 10 times before I moved to Los Angeles, and then after I'd been in the film business for a little bit, I watched it again like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and some insights that I saw. I don't know if these are insights, but like things that I recognized from my film career. It was just cool to rewatch it and be like, oh, I've been there. Oh, that's downtown. Oh, that's Long Beach Docks. Oh, that's this. That's that. So Heat was one of those movies that I rewatched. And then rewatched. I've rewatched the Christopher Nolan Batman series a couple of times. I also rewatched Inception. Basically, if it's a Chris Nolan film, I've probably watched it 3 or 4 times. I used to fall asleep watching Inception. I'm pretty sure that's half the reason why I'm crazy now. So, like, is this real? Or is it a dream? Or is it a dream within a dream within a dream? Sometimes I think about getting a top. But, like, wouldn't you be able to spin a top in your dream anyway? I don't know. Maybe I got to rewatch Inception. Laura, thanks for your question. Appreciate that. I don't know if I answered it well. Another question from @WhoSaidPhotography. What is your favorite travel destination? This is a good one. Because I feel like I've traveled a lot, at least in the States. I've traveled a lot. Outside of the States, I've really only been to, first time I left the States, I went to the Bahamas, but that was still like a territory. So I didn't need a passport. That was in my early 20s. And then 7 or 8 years ago, I was going to Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru every year with a nonprofit company called Inkalink, making fundraising films for those guys. And then recently went back to the Bahamas last year for my buddy Craig's bachelor party. Shout out, Craig, if you're listening, give me a call. What my favorite travel destination, of all of the places that I've been so far, I think South America has been amazing. The jungles of Ecuador and the beaches of Ecuador have been awesome. But every single year on my list, I have Hawaii at the top of the list. I absolutely want to go to Hawaii. I want to check it out. I think it's, from the pictures I've seen from the friends that have gone, it looks amazing. And coincidentally, one of those 2 words, my friend Dan Milligan, who's not on Instagram, you can't find him anywhere on social media, has decided to move in the middle of the social distancing, has decided to take all of his stuff and move to Hawaii. He's got a friend that lives there that's been saving him a room. He's had this plan to move to Hawaii since before COVID hit. But he's just going to take this time. He's moving next Tuesday, I think it is. What's today? The 23rd? He's moving on the 29th. So I hope that Hawaii is not only going to happen this year, but will become my favorite travel destination. So @WhoSaidPhotography, thanks for the question. We appreciate that. So now we have a guest suggestion from my hairstylist, Leanne. Her Instagram is @LEEN5. She is responsible for this hawk situation. So if you don't like it, it's her fault. If you do like it, it was my idea. But a guest suggestion from Leanne. Who would you most like to have on the show? Leanne is a massive Cher fan. And by massive, it's like she should be the Cher fan club president. Nobody knows more about Cher than her, except maybe Cher. And that's a maybe. But unfortunately, I'll reach out. I'll do my best to try and get Cher on the show. But the closest I might be able to do is her drummer, Jason Sutter, who's one of the reasons why I'm even sitting in California right now. That long story is my singer of my band, Craig, if you're listening, give me a shout, was on tour in a band that Jason Sutter was in many, many years ago. The tour ended. We were all in North Carolina. Jason invited Craig to come and rent a room from him, and that motivated the rest of the band to move to California. We stayed a band for a number of years, tried to make that work as we were production assistants and working our way up. But time became more precious, and our film careers all kind of took off. and we broke the band up. So no more band. But if you're looking for a backstory on me, from North Carolina, did the band thing. Band brought me out here. Band dissolved. Film business took off. And now I'm a podcaster and a filmmaker. I don't know. I don't like the word filmmaker. It's hard for me to call myself a filmmaker. I've also been a photographer for 15 years, and I have a hard time calling myself a photographer. I'm a guy that takes pictures. If you like them, I'm a photographer. If you don't like them, I'm just some guy that takes pictures. If you want to see my photography work, you can go to Flickr, which is not ER. It's FLICKR.com/Isaac Heckert. And you can check out my photography. Right now it's like super front loaded with comedians, but you can go all the way back to when I took my first picture. And I think everybody starts on like flowers and macro stuff and stuff in their backyard, and then they start doing portraits. There was a number of years about when I first moved into my loft right now, 8 years ago, where I thought I was going to be moving to Nashville. So I set up a little photo studio in my apartment. And I invited everybody over. I called it the Faces series. I was going to make a coffee table book for my house in Nashville and be able to flip through that and see all my friends. I ended up staying here, but I still love the pictures that I took. I think I had 40 or 50 people come through. So check out my Faces project on Flickr, flickr.com/Isaac Heckert. That's ISAAC, biblical spelling. And then my last name is HECKERT. Or you can just check out the lower thirds, right? It's not going to be there because I'm lazy. This is me going, look here, click on that. You can't click on it because it's a YouTube video. Cool. So my friend Alex sent in a number of questions. You can find her on Instagram at @theotheralex. Her first question is, are you single? And the answer to that question is hard to say, because I just started seeing somebody right before COVID hit, and then quarantine happened. So to just be brutally honest with you, we haven't communicated a whole lot over the course of the quarantine. I've been in this frump where, like, I don't know if every day is kind of Groundhog's Day, which is kind of hypocritical to sit here and podcast and talk to strangers via the internet and post new episodes, and then not have anything to say when you get home to your person that you're seeing. But I hope when this is all over, maybe we pick up where we left off, or maybe we start fresh. I don't know. Hopefully this thing ends soon. We can figure it out. So if you're watching, sorry. But if you're not watching, sorry anyway. So that's the answer. Are you single? Yes and no. I mean, I'm not married. I don't have a ring on, but I was seeing somebody before the thing started. So we'll see how that pans out. Tune in. I think, 5-6 episodes from now, maybe this thing will be over and we can figure it all out. Next question from @theotheralex. Red Vines or Twizzlers? Oh. Okay. This is an easy one for me, but it's also hard. So I grew up in North Carolina. I was born in New York, grew up in North Carolina. We did not have Red Vines in North Carolina. We only had Twizzlers. So growing up, I only had access to Twizzlers. When I moved here, they don't have Twizzlers on set. You can buy Twizzlers at the movies, I think, unless they only sell Red Vines. But on set, on craft services, they have a bucket of Red Vines. And they just taste different to me. I don't think they have the sweetness. I think they're harder. Maybe it's because they've been sitting out all day. But I don't know. I'm a Red Vine. No, I'm not. What am I doing? I can't even talk right now. It's so hot. I'm a Twizzlers guy. I don't know if they even make buckets of Twizzlers. So if you're a volume dude, I'm sure, or girl, person, then I think you're going to go for Red Vines. Or if you're a California West Coast person, you're probably Red Vines. I just like Twizzlers. I think they're sweeter and better. And it's okay to disagree. You don't have to tune out right now. If you ever disagree with me, that's okay. I just felt like I was just ripping off Chris D'Elia. I watched a lot of Chris D'Elia getting ready for this solo episode. Specifically episode 158, the turtleneck episode. You should watch that because he totally rips on my Super Bowl commercial for Sabra Hummus. You should watch that. That's the one with like T-Pain and the Yellow and like all these social media influencers. Me and your boy Dan Williams made that one back in January. Yeah, he totally rips it apart. So for like 30 minutes, makes fun of that. And he's right. Everything he said was absolutely what we were thinking the whole time we were making it. So if you hear me do like something that sounds like Dalia, it's because I was just watching a lot of. He does a solo podcast every week, so I was like, hey, why don't I watch a guy that does a solo podcast every week to see if I can get some tips and tricks? And that's what I picked up. Picked up that he was ripping apart my work, and he's right. It was a bad commercial. I mean, it's a funny commercial. It's cute, but like he made some good points. The third question from the other Alex, and this is the last one. She sent like 13 in, but these are the three best. Why do you hate white condiments but love Thousand Island? Okay, so this is a really big point of contention for me. I do not consume white condiments. They're gross. They're disgusting. For example, in the list of order of things of white condiments that are most disgusting to least disgusting, ranch is the worst thing that you can put on anything. You're disgusting if you eat ranch. I still love you, but you're a garbage person. And then sour cream. If you poison your Tex-Mex or Mexican food or Taco Bell with sour cream, you burned your taste buds off long ago. You might as well throw your tongue in the trash. Sour cream is disgusting. I'm going to have to speed this point up. Sour cream is second. Ranch gross, sour cream, blue cheese dressing. I can eat blue cheese crumbles. And then what else is there? Cottage cheese? Are you kidding me? Who eats that? And then mayo. Mayo is acceptable. The day after Thanksgiving on a turkey sandwich. And that's it. That's all the mayo that you get for the year. If you're putting mayo on anything other than that, except, okay, I'll give you another exception. I'm changing my mind. If you put a smattering of mayo before you butter your bread for grilled cheese on any day, that's all right. That's okay. But other than that, it's the day after Thanksgiving. So why do I hate white condiments? I don't know. I just don't like white condiments. But I absolutely love Thousand Island. And I know that the base of that is rooted in a white condiment, but I don't care. And I don't care in this one particular case. You can bust out all the science you want. You're not going to change my mind. Hate white condiments. Love some Thousand Island. So we're getting to the halfway point, and I think the camera's going to roll out. So I'm going to take a little pause, and then I'll finish answering these questions in just a second. We're back. I had the AC on during the break, and I was hoping that you could hear it for a second, but it just kicked off. So we can start answering some more questions. What did I do on my break? I refilled my water bottle, and I went to the kitchen, and I cooled down for a bit. I got real sweaty. I didn't bother to do a last look for this second half, so we're gonna hope that I don't have any schmutz on my face. Let's get back into some questions, guys. My photographer friend, Jessica Zarnecki Creative on Instagram, at Jessica Zarnecki. How do you spell that? Gassy from all the water. Jessica, common spelling, Zarnecki Creative, at Jessica Zarnecki. She says, being in the industry, where do you see it going from here as we rebuild? So much like the white condiment thing, I can't tell if she did this to trigger me or not, but my least favorite word in all of the English language, especially pertaining to the entertainment business, is the word industry. Hey, are you in the industry? Do you work in the industry? So this is common for people that work in music or live entertainment or motion pictures, commercials, whatever, to use industry. Well, there are thousands of industries, right? There's an industry that just makes bottle caps. There's an industry that just makes bottled water. There's an industry that just makes mouses, mouse, moose. The plural of mouses. So there's various numbers of industries. Least favorite word is industry. Not going to harp on that too much. Not trying to be a dick. But where do I see it going as we rebuild? Well, there's a couple of different scenarios. I don't want to get all COVID on you guys, so I'll do this real quick. One, we're going to get back to work shortly, maybe by the end of the summer. They're going to figure out a way to test us at the stage door as we walk into set. And if you pass in a 5 to 15 minute test, then you get to go to work. If not, then you get to go home. There's flaws in that canoe, so I don't claim to be an expert on any of this stuff. I have a couple of buddies that are starting to work remotely. Some things are being shot completely on Zoom, or there's one camera operator / audio lighting guy that goes to a house and sets up a camera, leaves the room while it's rolling, and then the talent comes in, having done their own hair and makeup, sits down. They record that on a good camera, also while it's on Zoom, so the client agencies and directors can all put in their notes and give direction. I think it's too early to tell where the film business is going to be at in a few months. But I sure do hoop. I sure hoop. I'm a hooper. Hoops. I sure hope that the producers are all sitting around zooming about it right now, because, man, it would be nice to get back to work the day that it's okay to go outside. So I don't want to get into a big thing about flattening the curve or the second wave. Everybody, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. I'm Switzerland on this, dude. I don't have a severe opinion about it. I know that I'm going to do what the state and local authorities are suggesting that we do. Because from a federal level, I think we're getting different information every single day. So I think Governor Newsom is doing his best, and Garcetti's doing his thing. Politically, I'm also Switzerland. I'm not going to get into red and blue stuff. You guys can duke that out in the comments. I want to bring everybody to the safety meeting and have a nice space to engage in topics like that. But my new catchphrase, this is a great segue, is if you're looking for a safe space, you're in the wrong place. So, if you came here with your feelings, at some point, you're probably going to get them hurt. Every day I go to work, I say, hey, I left my feelings at home. I'm sorry if you brought yours here today, because we just got to go to work and we got to get our thing done. If you're getting butt hurt at work, maybe you work at Google or IBM or Amazon or something, and you can have your safe spaces to work. But here at BMG, this ain't one of them. So let's go to another question. Big old Dan Williams, Big Dan Williams, episode, I don't know, I'd have to look it up. Dan Williams works with myself and our executive producer, Jeremy Robinson, as an assistant director on stuff. He's a car guy, does all that gym kind of stuff with Jeremy. And he does a lot of stage stuff with me. He did that Sabra hummus commercial, Chris. Anyway, Dan Williams says, talk about the time you sang Girl Crush on the way to work for a year. Well, two things are going to happen right now. Either I'm going to sing Girl Crush for you guys, or I'm going to play the clip. That when I snap, that means probably I'm going to a clip. So now every time I don't snap and you don't see a clip, it's because I didn't put one in there. But you guys know the song, I got a girl crush. That's the only words I know. But I would pick Dan up for work, and on the way in to center and focus my chi and my mind before I got to work and had a safety meeting, I would sing Girl Crush really loud. It was my favorite song like 4 years ago or whenever it came out. Little Big Town. Check it out. And I spelled it incorrectly. I put Girl Kirsch on here on my notes. So that's fun. I'm not a good spieler. I don't spiel really good. I think what I got in public speaking, great. I hope you're laughing right now. Me talk good, but me don't write good. So from North Carolina, do y'all want me to do an accent on here more often? Leave it a note down here and let me know if y'all like the accent, if y'all want to hear more North Carolina, or if y'all want to listen to my California bro. Because in North Carolina, we draw it out, and we talk like we're slow. You go up over there, and you get what you need, and then you take it home, take it on back to the house. So if you enjoy North Carolina accents, you can just play this little clip over and over again. But I'm going to go back to the regular way that I'm talking. But when I grew up, I talked like this because that's how people talk in North Carolina. And that's all right. People talk different all around the world. You know? I mean, you can't beat a woman. Well, I mean, you can't beat women, right? But you can't beat a woman with a Southern accent. There's nothing hotter than a girl from North Carolina. I'll give you Texas too. Some of the people that I've met from Texas are just weird. But Texas girls and North Carolina girls, baboomski, okay? They're the best girls in the world. And you're not going to convince me otherwise. I'll give you Brazil, but they don't speak English. So in an English-speaking world, you get yourself a woman from North Carolina, or you get yourself a woman from Texas, or you don't. Whatever. See, I'm going back into that Crystalia thing. I watched too much of it before I started recording this. So we're 8 minutes into the second half of the very first solo episode of the Safety Meeting Podcast. I had a point. Man, that triggered something, and I had it in my mind. And then as I turned to explain it to you, I lost it. But that's okay, because either you tuned out by now or you didn't. Riveting. What are some things that you guys want me to talk about on the next solo podcast? Do you even want there to be another solo podcast? My original intention was to have a guest on, drop the guest issue episode on Tuesdays, and then release a solo version on Fridays. So you guys get 2 times the safety meeting for the same price, which is $0. It's free. Speaking of things that are free that you can do to really help the show, get yourself on YouTube. Oh, wait, you're watching this. You're already on YouTube. If you're just listening, stop it. Stop listening to this show. Go watch it on the internet. Look at all this. Absorb these little baby blue peepers, right? Get yourself on the internet. Get yourself on YouTube. Look up the Safety Meeting Podcast. Go to episode 53. Dial it up to about the 40th minute. And then leave a comment. And then subscribe to the show. It's free. Do you know how hard it is to get subscribers to your show? It's hard. That's how you can help people monetize their YouTube account. So in order to make money on YouTube, you see all these people making all kinds of money, like Casey Neistat, and I said his name wrong, and all these other people that are making money on YouTube. You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time before YouTube will start paying you. So the longer you watch the episodes, that helps us out. And then just hit that little subscribe button. If you want to be a fancy pony, then you hit the bell for notifications. But like, you probably got a million notifications going on anyway. I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't hit the notifications button. But the longer you engage, write a comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It's the same crap you hear everybody saying, right? So here's a typical YouTube video, right? You're going to start, it's like the FedEx era. Once you see this, you can't unsee it, right? Every YouTube video now is, coming up, we're going to talk about the thing that you clicked on this video for and some other things, and stick around to the very end for a bonus tip about how to do this. But before we do all that, hit like and subscribe and hit the bell button, and we'll be right back. And then their fancy logo flashes up, and they do all this other shit, and then they start talking, and they don't get to their initial point until maybe 10 minutes in, because the longer you're engaged in that video, the more money they make. And then you'll also see on YouTube videos right before a big point, you can decide where you drop your ads and how many ads you want on your YouTube video. Right before, like, and next, we're going to tell you about how to win $1 million. Boom, new commercial rolls. You think that's a coincidence? No, it's not. I lean the wrong way. I normally lean this way to go. Is there a normal, though? What's normal? This is the first solo podcast. I'm establishing new norms. I'm sweating because I'm warm. I got an exercise bike. Cool. New rule, can't play Xbox unless I'm sitting on the exercise bike because I don't want to be fat on camera. I want to be skinny. I want to be ripped. When they let us out of this thing, I'm going to pull my shirt off like Hulk Hogan. And it's going to be pow, pow, biggity, bam, bam. Your boy's going to have some washboard abs. I'm doing the Chris D'Elia thing. Again, I watched 15 hours of Chris D'Elia leading up to this. I'm not trying to copy your boy. I think he's a hilarious comic. I haven't met him. I mean, I've watched him live a bunch of times. He's got a new special out called No Pain, Bam. Oh, here's something funny. Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, and Chris D'Elia all released specials within the last month. Bert dropped the other day, or Bert and Tom on their podcast, Two Bears, One Cave, revealed, while Tom was in the restroom, Bert revealed that there is a setup in Bert's special, or a premise in Bert's special, a setup in Tom's special, and a punchline in Chris D'Elia's special, and it's a secret between the three of them. So the challenge is who can go in and figure out and cut together those three things. I'm going to try it. Maybe. I'm going to rewatch all three and see if I can figure it out. By the time I get around to figuring it out, though, there's somebody that's already probably going to do it. Because if you don't jump on the internet stuff quick, it's over. The internet is fast. I started tweeting again. Right? So I had this thought that, like, when I'm not doing podcast shows or producing other podcast shows, I'd hop on the internet, grab some clips, cut them together, make people who aren't talking to each other talk to each other, or put like funny voices over people doing something else. So the other day I tweeted a picture of Bert Kreischer swinging on the longest rope swing or whatever, but I put the Tarzan yell over it. So he's swinging, it's like, and you can watch it right here. And welcome back. So check it out on the Twitter, at Isaac Heckert on tweets, on the Twitter twats. It's at Isaac Heckert on all the social media. So getting an email from our executive producer, Jeremy Robinson. There's going to be pauses in the solo cast. There's just going to be little breaks, little pauses while I collect my thoughts. I did a really good job of prepping the first half of this, but I didn't, much like most of my jokes, I don't have an ending. Like, I tell a story, and then I'm like, that's the way it went, and no one laughs. So much like my comedy, this episode's probably just going to fall off a cliff. So that's what I'm working on in my personal life. Working on trying to be funny. Working on trying to finish a joke. I could start one all day. I wrote the prep of this episode on one of my joke lists. So, do you want to hear a joke? Not gonna do it on the podcast. Not gonna work out the jokes this time. Maybe next episode. If there is one, leave a comment below. Tell me if you think I should keep going. How am I doing? You're doing great, dude. Thanks. I really needed to hear that. But I think instead of dragging this out and just making it an hour to make it an hour, let's just call it 45 minutes, dude. Because we do what we want. We can do anything we want. I'm going to take this sip. Ooh, here's a little ASMR water sipping for you. See, that's quality entertainment for your money. All right, starting to sweat too much. 45 minutes is better than nothing. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the very first solo edition of the Safety Meeting Podcast. I hope to be rolling more of these out. I had a really good time. So if I can figure out more stuff to say, I'll be giving you more of what you want. You want me to talk to you? I'm going to talk to you on the internet. Now I'm just dragging it out. I feel like a politician now. Do you want more? I'll give you more. I'll give you more than anyone else with my non-threatening gestures, with my thumbs wrapped gently around my fists, pointing to you in a non-threatening gesture with both of my hands, I'm going to give you more of the content that you demand from your boy. So, all right, I'm going to do the outro in my country version. Ready? All right, y'all. Thank you for watching the Safety Meeting podcast. We appreciate your support. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week when we either have a new guest on the internet or you get more of me talking to you in my country accent. Bye now.
This show's a piece of shit.